And let's start the saddest sports story on YouTube, guys. Let's get into the saddest sports story on YouTube. Oh, by the way, Chad saying, I saw something online about the Fires promotions a few days ago. I was like, what the fuck, promotions? I skimmed the article online and there was nothing about terminations. Yeah, there was one president that was let go. We'll get into this, of course, here in a little bit. The president has moved on. Ishwar Crean, Glassman Crean is gone. But the coach, the GM retained. And a new president is coming over. And it's really the guy who's been running Lugano, FC Lugano over there for Joe Mansueto over in Switzerland. We'll talk about that a little bit more here. FC Neo Tokyo asking CPU or online. I'm playing versus CPU at the moment. And let's cue up this video, guys, about the saddest, what I found to be the saddest video, sports YouTube video on YouTube. And it's about Skip Bayless, guys. Skip Bayless. Some of you might recognize the name Skip Bayless. He's, of course, a well-known sports pundit. He goes on regularly on ESPN and other places and gives out his opinion. You might remember him giving his opinion against Shannon Sharp or Stephen A. Smith. It's just, he's got a recognizable face and a recognizable opinion. Now, his brother is a world-renowned Michelin chef, actually famous in Chicago. Chicago's where he started his first restaurant. Rick Bayless, we're talking about Rick Bayless. And so this story that Skip tells about his relationship with his brother and how it got to that point, there's an understanding there. There's an absolute understanding as a brother how that can happen. But what I can't wrap my head around is how now they don't seek to make changes. How now, with so little time left in their lives, they don't seek to make changes. We'll get into what I'm talking about later. But here's Skip Bayless on his relationship with his brother, Michelin star chef Rick Bayless. This is, of course, courtesy of the Skip Bayless Show. And here it goes, guys.
Next topic is a deep one for me, so buckle up and hang on. I opened last week's podcast by saying Stephen A. Smith was more of a brother to me than my actual brother ever was. That's the truth.
Did you guys hear that?
So
That's
allow me to share
crazy.
a little about that actual brother named Rick Bayless. Born 2 years after me, I was the oldest.
All right.
We had a sister named Luann.
Sorry about that, guys. I did not intend for sound to be on.
Died a couple of years to me than my actual brother.
So here it goes. Skip on his relationship with his brother, and he wrote a note here. He wrote a letter. Like, this is so well thought. I'm so glad that Skip shared this with us. This is not something yet most people would share, but I feel very appreciative that he shared this, and I hope that others can learn from this. And that's why I wanted to talk about this and highlight this.
And hang on. I opened last week's podcast by saying Stephen A. Smith was more of a brother to me than my actual brother ever was.
Think about that. Think about that.
So allow me to share a little about that actual brother named Rick Bayless.
It's shocking to me because, well, my best friend on the planet is my brother. My brothers are my best friends on the planet, and I have best friends as well who are my best friends on the planet. But I just can't imagine growing up and not being brothers, not being friends with my brothers, with my siblings. It makes sense because sometimes siblings turn into different people from what we are. Sometimes we do have to remove ourselves from those situations. That is sad. But this is not that situation. This is not getting rid of a severely negative force in your life. That's not what happened here with Skip and Rick. Something else broke down here, and I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna break into it because he doesn't. he doesn't hit upon it. He talks about it, and I can hit upon it. And that's what we're going to do here. Coach, your team has struggled out of the gate. A lot is blame on who needs to step up. The team. What are you talking? Yeah, the team. We don't have to single out freaking Justin. What the heck is that about?
That actual brother named Rick Bayless.
Yep.
So allow me to share a little about that actual brother named Rick Bayless. Born 2 years after me, I was the oldest. We had a sister named Luann. She died a couple of years ago of breast cancer. May she rest in peace. 7 years younger than me.
Did
So
Khalil
my
Mack just retire?
relationship with my little brother Ricky,
Wait a second,
as he was called.
Chat. Did I just accidentally retire Khalil Mack? Chat. Like, while this drama is going on, did I just accidentally retire Khalil Mack? Because I'm pretty sure I just retired Khalil Mack. Oh no. Oh no. What did we just do? Oh no. Oh no. Did he just retire? We just lost Khalil Mack for nothing. All right. You know what? Okay. We're just going to live with it. Oh my God. Khalil Mack just retired from the Bears in the middle of the 2022 season, being the best player on our team. What the fuck just happened? Can I quit? I am absolutely flabbergasted. What just happened? We'll get back to Skip and his relationship with his brother here. But oh my goodness gracious. No, we're not taking that. We are not taking that. We will start again. No, back up. All right, chill out. All right, we will start again because no freaking way. Can Khalil Mack just retire in the third week of the season? And I just kind of brain dead zombie click through it. All right, let's play. Play offense only. Let's get back to Skip's story.
She rested. We had a sister named Luann. She died a couple of years ago of breast cancer. May she rest in peace. 7 years younger than me.
So Skip has two siblings, his little sister
brother,
and a little
Ricky,
brother.
as he was called in those days, was simply the strangest development that ever happened in my life.
It has to be, because how it ends up.
From the start, we never really had any relationship.
Who's that
I
on?
doubt you can find two brothers as dramatically different as we were. And our parents both had their problems. They weren't what you would call loving parents. My mother really didn't want to have children, just had them because her mother pressured her to. So neither of our parents ever put any pressure on us to love each other because we were brothers. So from the start, I just loved sports. I don't know why. I don't know how. My whole life was sports. Watching, playing sports. I was always pretty good at playing sports. And my little brother had absolutely zero interest in anything sports. So we couldn't play catch in the backyard because it's the last thing he wanted to do. And I accepted that. But the irony here was that he wasn't the weirdo. I was. I was the family weirdo because I was the only one in my extended family who didn't care about cooking. Everybody cooked. Everybody cooked. My father got up at 4 a.m., which actually seems pretty late to me, but he got up at 4 a.m. every single morning to go cook the ribs, the meat, whatever he cooked, mostly ribs, at this little hole-in-the-wall barbecue place, a 35 or 40-minute drive all the way across Oklahoma City to the south side, called the Hickory House. He forced me to work at the Hickory House.
So, if you guys are following the story, Skip's dad worked at the Hickory House and made them all work at the Hickory House. Let's just go back over that real quick.
The meat, whatever he cooked, mostly ribs, at this little hole-in-the-wall barbecue place, a 35 or 40-minute drive all the way across Oklahoma City to the south side.
Oklahoma City.
The Hickory House. He forced me to work at the Hickory House every summer day, every holiday until I was 17 years of age, and I despised it. I did not want to cook. I did not want to prepare food. So I got reduced to sweeping what was called the bullpen, the trash can area. It was just disgusting. I had to wipe down tables during the lunch rush and sometimes the dinner rush. I hated it. I nearly cut my finger off trying to cut a green pepper with a butcher knife because I hated it.
And sometimes the hate of something is what drives you out of that place. Sometimes just the hate of something is what drives you out of that town, out of that place. And I think that's kind of what happened with Skip here. Skip really hated working at the restaurant, really hated the hard work, the hard hours of the restaurant, and just thought that he wanted something different. He didn't want that. He didn't like that. Now, it's interesting because his little brother, Rick, took to it, loved it, excelled at it, was actually phenomenal at cooking, surpassed Skip really quickly at a young age when it came to cooking. I wonder if Skip as an older brother I wonder if he took a little umbrage to that little jealousy that his little brother was better at this than he was. But I also wonder at what point, maybe he had already come to terms with that. He didn't like that being in the restaurant. Maybe that's what drove him to not care about the restaurant, drove him to care about other things, being good at sports, writing about sports. Skip was actually a phenomenal athlete. Where came out later that, when his little brother would be going to school, Skip was a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal student. So when Rick was coming up in school, Skip will tell the story.
If there was anything good about it, it did teach me the value of hard work because my dad was a grinder.
Absolutely. That's hard work.
I grind now. I know what an honest day's work feels like.
I believe it.
And it benefits me to this day. My dad never ever took a sick day, and I'm going to knock on some wood here. I haven't and don't plan to. Thank you, God. Yet my father gravitated to my little brother Ricky because right from the start, he gravitated to cooking at the Hickory House. Not only did he grow to be on fire with it, but he showed immediately at 4, 5, 6 years of age, talent for cooking. My father had next to no interest in my sports. In fact, repeatedly telling me that I was just wasting my time. So
that had to be tough. Your dad running this failing restaurant, the whole family's pitching in every week, every day. help keep it afloat. It's not happy. It's just barely getting by. And his oldest son, who's a good athlete, who's a good student, he wants to do stuff in sports. What? The family business is cooking. And I wonder if this break off poisoned a little bit of Skip's relationship with his father and the rest of his family, his leaving that he's eventually going to get to. And I wonder if his father's opinion of sports, he's in the kitchen with Rick all day. Who else is he talking to? Rick, his wife, is his daughter, or whoever workers that they would have managed to hire. And he would probably be saying, I can't believe Skip's wasting his time on this types of stuff. And he probably heard that for 2, 3, 4 years while Skip's away at college. And then more when Skip's absence grows longer, and then all of a sudden Skip makes a name for himself pretty quickly.
The point is, my brother and I never really had anything to talk about.
Come on.
We had nothing in common.
Come on, bullshit.
Was from the start, artistic.
All right, bullshit. All right, Skip, this is where I call bullshit. Skip, this. So when I heard you say this is where I call bullshit, because I feel for you. I feel for Skip. I feel for Rick. I feel for the Baylesses of this breakup that is going on between him and Skip and Rick. Basically, for a schism that's gone over almost 40 years, if not more. And part of me says, hey man, Skip, this is on you. This is on you. And if you want to fix this, you gotta buck up and be the bigger man, because you are the bigger brother. You have to. And you have to extend the olive branch across. You have to make the move back across. You have to want to get back in Rick's life and get your kids back in each other's lives. Because I can't imagine not knowing my cousins. And they're some of my best friends on the planet as well. And the fact that your relationship may have gotten in the way of them, I find very sad. I don't know the full story, so I don't know if it's true, but I would see it very likely that Skip and Rick's inability to retain any type of friendly relationship to the point where they haven't seen each other, only seen each other at funerals. Like, when do the kids see each other? When do the cousins all see? So something doesn't sit well with me there. And it comes back to this. Skip saying he doesn't have anything that dovetails with his brother. And that's a lie, Skip. It's a lie. I'm sorry. You're not telling the truth, because you eat food, mother trucker. There is something you can figure out. You both worked for your dad, mother trucker. You have stuff in common that you are unwilling, or were unwilling, to go and do the work to find. It was a lot easier to go do this other work on the world and the world's issues, but when it came to doing work internally on Skip, I think Skip might suffer a little bit there, and hopefully he could take a little time for more internal reflection. I just really hope that he can restore a relationship, some semblance of a relationship with his brother before they both die, because they're gonna both die. Does it matter if they're brothers, that they're on friendly terms? To me, it doesn't make one difference. As I don't know the case whatsoever, but I'm just saying it's sad to hear about. It's sad to know, and it's sad that they aren't doing anything about it. Seemingly. Connor saying, "What's up, James?" What's up, Connor? We're talking about the saddest sports story on YouTube. And that's Skip Bayless with his relationship with his brother, Rick Bayless, Michelin star winning chef. You'll see him on Gordon Ramsay shows every so often that Rick Bayless shows up.
Remember, our parents, I'm not even sure they got through high school. And here's my little brother.
Okay.
Artistic. He liked to paint. He liked to make ceramics.
Oh, well, he's explaining his home life. So, the parents, not the most educated. My brother, an artsy type of person. So their academics was not in this household's plans at all, or even they didn't care about academics. They cared about the restaurant.
He liked to act in school plays. I was more inward, more introverted. And weirdly, I became a voracious reader. I sort of escaped from my home life by reading. I read everything, every sports biography, but I read all the classics, Robinson Crusoe, Treasure Island.
I've read those.
Then I fell into falling in love with all the old movies, The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind.
Good ones.
Christmas Carol, all the classics, analyzing them, figuring someday I'm going to write movies, I'm going to write books. But my brother was more
avant-garde than that.
Avant-garde, more off-Broadway, and we couldn't even connect on any sort of literary level. We just had zero common ground. So it got so bad for my little brother that when my jock friends would come over, they did think he was a little bit of a weirdo.
So they picked on him.
He felt that, and it's never anything blatant.
Yeah.
Never any open verbal abuse. But
being the little brother that gets picked on by the older brother with the jock bros.
Hated my life. And then, of course, all the way up through grade school, into high school.
It makes it hard.
But my brother didn't love that.
Hated
them. Hated my life. And then, of course, all the way up.
So Rick grew resented, very resentful of Skip. Skip's always picking on him, always being he's bigger, he's faster, he's smarter. He's always picking on Rick, even his friends. And so at some point, Rick really was like, fuck this guy. But a lot of brothers who've been like that, and they still later become best buddies. It's like something else happened here.
Up through grade school, into high school. I was often the best athlete, especially in grade school, and I was often the best student in my class because I was just an overachiever. I just outwork everyone, and ended up finishing second in my graduating class of 681. In high school, what do you call it, salutatorian. Thanks to my B I got in driver's ed because they wouldn't give A's. That cost me. The woman who won it, just a girl at that point, she didn't take driver's ed. So my little brother Ricky had to come after me at every level. Sometimes would have the same teachers I had had, and of course they would immediately say, "Oh, you're Skip's brother," which put more pressure on him to live up. Same for my little sister, 7 years younger, and the resentment built among both of them,
wow.
My brother and my sister.
Yep. So Skip's a great student.
And meanwhile, my father was falling deeper and deeper into the bottle as he felt greater and greater pressure to provide because that restaurant came and mostly went. Many nights I thought they were going to have to close it, so our finances came and often went. My father tried rehab 2 or 3 different times and failed miserably each time.
Damn.
He left us when I was 17 and ran off with one of my mom's best friends.
Whoa.
Named Judy, who lived down the block.
Let's unpack that for a second there. So 17 years old. This is before Skip's even going to college. This is like senior year, junior year of high school. And the whole family has been putting everything into this restaurant. And all of a sudden the dad just absconds with some girl, one of the mom's friends from down the street, and rips up the whole family dynamic. Alcoholic father, who was the main breadwinner, who was pushing that family, as it was not necessarily keeping it together the greatest, but these are the conditions that Skip and Rick Bayless grew up in. And then, of course, their mother had to pick up the pieces from this.
Block. which sent my mother deeper and deeper into the bottle. So we had double alcoholic issues.
Double alcoholic issues was because his wow, because he still see his dad, I would imagine.
And all the way up through high school, I rarely spent a Friday or a Saturday night at home just to stay away from my father and these problems. I just stayed at friends' houses constantly. I had a steady girlfriend, became my first wife, named Liz, starting in 9th grade, and her parents loved me and I loved them as sort of my substitute parents. So I went to her house as soon as I could drive. I went to her house almost every single weeknight to study and just hang out.
Well, he's fleeing. He's running away from, these are the problems that he has as a 17-year-old.
My brother and I never discussed any of
this. Can't solve
we just
them.
Drifted further and further apart.
That's the thing.
I frankly, I rarely saw him. And the irony of that is that we shared a bedroom all the way up until I was
no way
14. I was top bunk, he was bottom.
Wow.
Rarely talked, rarely saw each other except when we were going to sleep. If in fact I was there.
And sometimes they were just resenting each other in the same room.
So as fate would have it,
strong resentment.
Into my senior year, I won a full scholarship to Vanderbilt University.
Congrats.
And I was finally free. I had my way out. I'll be the first to admit, I left my brother and my sister in an all-time mess. I don't think they ever forgave me for that, and
nope. That might be.
Do not blame either one of them. Oh. They bonded through all the crises with my mother. They became very close, and I get that.
They're all close, but Skip is not close with them.
The truth was, I never really knew either one of my brother or my sister because our household was so completely, sadly dysfunctional.
That's sad.
So I left, and I was driven to survive and succeed as the oldest, and I fought my way up that ladder. I became a star writer at the Miami Herald right out of Vanderbilt, and then moved out here, became a star writer at the LA Times.
True.
And I became the lead columnist at the Dallas Morning News at age 25. Then came radio, then came television. And meanwhile, guess what my little brother Ricky was up to? He became Rick Bayless.
Yes.
One of America's most famous and successful chefs. Who knew? Hickory
Who
House.
knew?
He wound up, when my mother failed to be able to operate the Hickory House in the wake of my father, he took her ancient, decrepit equipment and U-hauled it up to Chicago and somehow opened a little restaurant called Frontera Grill.
Frontera in Chicago.
That took off. He's had his own national TV shows. Every time I look up, he's on Good Morning America. He's written countless bestsellers, cookbooks, specialty Mexican cuisine. He has won the most prestigious awards for a chef and a restaurant, the James Beard Awards, for both of those.
He's proud of his brother.
This is impossibly great. Now his most famous restaurant is called Topolobampo. It is Obama's favorite restaurant. So when Obama was first elected, he asked my brother, little Ricky to be the White House chef. By then, my brother was running 4 or 5 different restaurants, and as our father always told us, if you're not there, they will fail. There's no absentee owning a restaurant. As my father always said, they'll steal from you, they'll steal you blind. And they did when my father wasn't there. According to my mother, because I didn't speak to my brother at that point, my brother was very honored, but had to decline to be able to keep his restaurants going. So he declined Obama's invitation to be the White House chef. I cannot express to you, I can't express to you strongly enough how proud I am of my brother I don't know. I'm so proud of him because I know what he had to overcome to get where he got. I know that because I also lived it. I know how he had to, even more than I had to, lift himself up out of the you-know-what that he lived in with my mother, that mess that I left him in. To rise out of that, the mess I left him in, all the way to the top of his profession.
There's some ownership of the issue.
It's impossibly great. I did see my brother at my mother's funeral a few years back. We spoke. I can't remember a single word we said, but we spoke. We were fine. It was civil. There's no.
Yo, can you hear me?
I'm aware of.
Yo, yo, yo.
But we haven't spoken since.
But they haven't spoken since. Yo, yo, yo. We were just talking a little about what I found to be the saddest story on YouTube. Skip Bayless and his brother, Rick, who's a famous chef from Chicago. He became famous in Chicago for the Frontera Grill, and how they just don't get along. Skip Bayless, of course, a famous ESPN sports pundit, and Rick Bayless being a famous chef. And I was just talking about how their relationship broke down over the years and how they have yet to repair it. I'm like, guys, get your act in order. Go play some freaking golf or something. What is up? Can you hear me? Oh shit. Oh shit, you can't hear me. Boom, boom, boom. Accessibility. Where is it? Voice and video. Input. Boom. Hello. Boom. Hello. Oh, DPG, I missed you. DPG, I just got DPG. If you're listening, I just got the thing on. I could hear you. You guys couldn't hear me. My mic was off. Sorry, bros. My mic is off. All right, but back on.
And honestly, I don't lose any sleep.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's up, DPG?
Hey, so I might be in and out. It's Well, I have the kid. Wife's busy with class, so you might hear some background noise from a kid, or I might have to step out for a few moments. So I figure I'll just try to hop on as much as I can.
Sure.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
So
hold on 1 second. I got Mrs. Spitfire. Yes, Mrs. Spitfire. I thought you fed Minnie. All right, there we go. Bad news. All right, I'm back. Oh, we had to feed the dog. All right, DBG,
All right, yeah.
I am back and I am ready to go.
All right. So if FC Toke wants to get on, or he wants to wait, it's all the same.
Oh, there's no news about Skip. Toke is asking, what prompted this kind of sharing? I didn't hear any news about Skip. No, I just saw this video, and it just made me sad for him and his relationship with his brother, that he's not doing anything to repair it.
Nathan, give me a sec.
Take your time. But I thought that would be a great little, sad interlude before we get into talking about the sadness that is the Chicago fire. Man, I got brutalized here.
Yeah, I'm still here. Just give me a sec.
No, take your time. Return here. And so the reason, though, I brought it up, I mean, it's not a video. I'm not a big fan of Skip's content and his hot takes all the time. Every once in a while, he's got something that's good take. But I'm not the biggest Skip Bayless fan. But Rick Bayless, I mean, I'm sure you've maybe you've had a bite to eat at one of his restaurants. Maybe you haven't. But I've come across him in a couple of Gordon Ramsay shows that I've been watching, and so I was like, oh, that's an intriguing concept. What's going on with those two? I didn't know that Rick Bayless was related to Skip Bayless. I mean, you never really hear him talk about it. And then it went into why.
Yeah, I found out about that too, not a while back. I didn't know they had a bad relationship. Like, and that's you know what? The way I was kind of listening to the story. Honestly, Skip Bayless comes off kind of like an asshole.
Yeah, like he's the one who let the relationship sour, and he's not putting any work in to fix it. Like, I appreciate him sharing this, but still,
Yeah,
he's got to do
it's
something.
it's like his attitude is kind of like, oh well,
Yeah,
it happened. Like, dude, you're the older brother. Like I'm the oldest. It's three of us, and I'm the oldest. And sometimes I had to step up because my parents had to go to work. Sometimes I was the one that had to cook something for my little brothers.
Mhm.
I didn't have an issue with that. Fortunately, I mean, I have, fortunately, I had good parents, and they kind of, we grew up with the mentality that we had each other's back,
right.
even to this day. And I'm sure you probably had the same way too, because you mentioned that you have a good relationship with your brothers and your other family members, right?
Yeah, yes, I still have good relationships with my family members. I mean, there's been times where, hey, sometimes the relationship was a little tense. Maybe you're a little angry. Maybe
That's
or
normal.
maybe they're a little angry, and that stuff happens. But at the end of the day, we all come back and we love each other, and we're talking to each other. We're not just seeing each other at the funerals, and that to me is unforgivable. How he's denying his kids their cousins and the relationships they could have there too, and the friendships they could have, the lifelong friendships with great people they could have had. It's just, to me, absolute what he's doing to his family there as the brain breadwinner that's what really annoys me.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, my brother, he messages me every other day telling me, hey man, you don't hang out with me anymore. Like, he complains.
Yeah.
It's funny, even though we both have kids and we're both married, he's always like saying, hey, you're gonna watch the World Cup at my house, right?
Yeah, that's my bro too. He's the one with all the kids.
Yeah. So, it's, I mean, honestly, when you come across people like that, it's just, yeah, Skip might be sitting on his millions and millions of dollars and whatnot.
And so is Rick.
So is Rick, but at the end of the day, who do you want to hang out with, Skip or Rick?
I think I want to go hang out with Rick.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch the shows when I was a kid. Big part. I actually like cooking, and a big part of that was that I used to watch cooking shows when I was growing up, and his show was one of them. I've been to his restaurants.
Frontera.
Yeah. Love the torta.
Ooh.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, it's, that's something, what, he could live with that. He could, whatever, what, that's on him.
It is. It's all on him. And when he talks about being 17, 16 years old and the relationships are all falling apart in his house, and he still goes to bed with his little brother in the same room, but they have nothing to talk about. What the fuck are you talking about? You guys are living through the same shared experience, and he shares that, but he doesn't see it as that.
You know what's the sad part is that this guy, he talks about sport. He's a sportscaster. He talks about all these athletes. It's funny because all those athletes, a lot of them, grew up in a rough neighborhood, grew up in a rough, childhood, and some of them even have stories of them watching over their little brothers.
Oh yeah,
and sisters. A lot of them, and they stepped up as older brothers. The dad wasn't there. Boom, the older brother stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear it all the time.
And we hear it from Skip, though, that he did step up in academics and being an athlete, but he left his family.
Yeah, he said, oh, this is my way out.
This is my way out. And he left them, he abandoned them. And it sounds like, he says he was only talking to his mom on the phone. He didn't really hear about Rick. He didn't really talk to Rick. And I get that. You know, when I was at college, I didn't really go out of my way to go text my littlest brother all the time. But still, when I was home, I could haberdash on something he had an interest in that I would find an interest sometimes with with some of my family, and it's not, you know, just so we had that. Like, you know, I'm not for the longest time I wasn't the biggest anime or cartoon fan, but one of my siblings was really into anime, and then so I tried out a few and found one I like, so now I can haberdash with him about it. And
Yeah.
just like making the effort there. And I'm hearing from Skip this not making the effort, despite seeing him make the effort everywhere else in his life. And I think that's a little pathetic.
And the thing too is like I get it. Like when you have a family, when you get married, you have kids, you have a family. I get that. You know, you become more apart. But then you try to, like, my brother and I, we both got, we're both married. We have kids. But we try to always communicate. We always communicate. We literally have a chat on WhatsApp, just us three.
Yeah.
And we talk about all random stuff. I mean, sometimes we even try playing video games together if we have time. We all have little children, so it's kind of hard sometimes.
So
but
hard.
He's probably the main reason why for a time I was playing Modern Warfare with him. My little brother, me and him, we both, we're actually all three of us do something with tech. We grew up with a computer at the house, and me and my youngest brother, we both build our own gaming PCs. The middle one kind of wants to do it too, but I helped them out. I built mine first, and I helped them out. I'm like, hey, look, this is how I did it. These are the parts I recommended. Go for it. So it's just that's how we have that bond. It's always hard for me to see how siblings could hate each other and not talk to each other.
Right.
It's like it's first it's like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, because I could never imagine me fighting my brother or me not talking to him.
That's what I mean. Like, a fight can erupt and make it that big, but I'm like, but what? But what at this point? I mean, like, we don't have our teenage dramas anymore. And it feels like they're stuck in sort of some teenage drama that they both are still being petulant children about and won't grow up on. Angus McWhorter saying Skip seems a bit off with his attitude, in my opinion. You got to fix things instead of just talking about it in the public forum. I got to say, I appreciate him talking about it in the public forum. So it is, because this is not just a topic that affects his family. I'm sure there's other families that have similar stories. So I appreciate him bringing it up, because now we can talk about the relationship between brothers and how does that fracture, or how does that improve, and how can we help Skip maybe figure it out.
Yeah, of course. But that's on him. You know what? At the end of the day, the guy's a millionaire. He doesn't, it's whatever he wants, and I'll leave it at that. And on top of that, I didn't want to talk about Skip Bayless. All kudos to Rick Bayless. Good food, good restaurant. Let's talk about the main topic here. Like the one thing that's been going on the past 2 days.